Hi there, it's Samuel Larsen here from Crocodile.com. Today we're going to cover the three most important email flows for e-commerce. So I'm going to share with you exactly the flows that we use to grow six-figure stores into seven figures and beyond when it comes to annual sales. So this is the best practices, and then of course you can iterate on these best practices as you start getting data. But with these flows, you're basically guaranteed to make more money than you are right now. So let's start. What is a flow actually? Let's cover that first. Flow is an email sequence that starts with a trigger. So something like, let's say, an abandoned cart starts a flow of emails. And then that customer is, so to say, in the flow. When they are in the flow, they will either keep getting emails or they will exit the flow by unsubscribing or doing an action that will throw them out of the flow, such as in this case, if it's an abandoned cart, they will buy, and that would make them not receive any more emails. But the flows that we're going to cover today are the abandoned cart emails. Those are your number one money makers. The first abandoned cart email that you're going to send out is going to be the most important email you'll ever send. It's the one that's going to make you the most money. Second, customer winbacks. So how do we improve our retention flow, basically? So this is our number one retention flow. How do we make people that have gone a little bit cold, how do we make them come back and buy again? Then number three is our welcome series. So this is our number one branding email, and this is sent for people that have, for example, put their email into pop-up or in your footer, subscribe from there, and now you get to make an impression. But first of all, we're just going to start from the abandoned cart. So this has been covered pretty extensively with other videos as well, and it's typically the one flow that everyone knows. Even if you're not into e-commerce for some reason, I don't know why you wouldn't be, but if you are, you know abandoned cart for sure. And studies have shown that 2/3 of shoppers abandon their shopping cart. So this is majority of visitors. They say like something stopping them, like oftentimes it's shipping costs or something else. And this is our way of, first of all, reminding them and possibly overcoming that objection in order to get them as a client. So hugely important, and especially more and more important in a mobile world like we are living right now, where majority of the first touches will come in mobile, but many of the sales will still happen on desktop. So by far your number one moneymaker, and this is for people that have already indicated interest. So we don't need to do that much selling here. They have basically stated that I would like this product, but I'm not ready. Or I would like this product, but something else came in the way, or whatever reason they have. But they have indicated interest. So for this flow, first email is just simple. You just remind them like, okay, here's your cart, here's a link to the cart. It's easy for you to come from this email or the cart and complete the purchase. That's the subliminal message there. Then going from email 1 over to email 2, 3, 4, which I usually recommend to have 3 to 4 emails here. You can even build longer. I've seen really long flows as well. But emails 2 and 3, you might want to start proofing that a little bit. So customer has gone a little bit colder. They might want more of reasons to buy. So here you can use Amazon reviews, Facebook reviews, written testimonials, video testimonials, whatever is available to make sure that you can overcome that buying objection. Then people typically, and I think this is a mistake, and many experts agree with me, they might start using the email discounts right away. So even in this email 1 or 2, they're already discounting like That's the level that they have in believing that their product is wanted. But I don't recommend this at all. That's why you have a longer series. So you can save this discount and use it on email 3, email 4. And then if a person has indicated that they don't want this, then you can use the discount. You can push them only once they have indicated that they need a push. So if they don't need a push, don't push them, because you might still capture that full margin, which is obviously what you want. So we don't cannibalize our margins by discounting too early. So with email 3, if we add the discount there, we'll have a reason to email them again, because now you can remind of them discount. You're just not reminding them or card, like, oh, you forgot your card. Hey, did you remember that you have the card? And so on and so on. Like, that gets a bit boring and a bit annoying, and you're basically just spamming the same message that they have already declined. So just use this as a reminder type of flow. Keep that in mind, and then you can turn it into a discount flow later on in those emails. Recommended length typically for an abandoned cart email flow, 4 emails, and the sending frequency that you use is 1 hour after the order. That's when it's guaranteed to be basically an abandonment. It's still very fresh on their mind. They might be shopping around, and you might still win that customer. So 1 hour, send second email 23 hours. It's usually best to go 23 instead of 24, because now you have that same period of starting. So let's say somebody starts a session of browsing, they might start with the email. So you'll hit them right away. Then third one, 47 hours. So now 2 days have passed from the abandonment to the third email. They have received 3 emails. So not like obnoxiously many, but quite many already. So you can start and discount this from this third email, because otherwise you're basically spamming. And fourth email, to be honest, that's where it starts mattering quite a bit less. But that's for you to decide. You might wait a couple of days even after the third email. So that's the abandoned cart flow. It's pretty simple, and that's the flow with the most data available in general. With the timings, you might want to work on that a little bit, and also think of how is your particular product and offer fitting into this email flow. So if you have a very high consideration product, don't email them a very simple sequence, because you need more copy, you need more proof. So obviously utilize that proof. So even if you have best practices, still use your brain. Like, that's the message here. All right, let's look into customer winback. So this is the number 1 retention flow. All right, so you have all these customers. So you have traffic that you're turning into customers. Now, these customers have 2 choices. They can basically forget all about it, never visit your store again. Or they might circle back. Oh, yeah, came back to your store. Let's say you have a winter clothes store. Obviously, a buying cycle would probably be at least a year, probably 2, 3, 4 years, whatever the average timeline of people buying winter coats is. So you'd want to make sure that you hit them in the most appropriate time possible. So where previously in abandoned cart, you tried to activate for the first order, now you are activating for the second, third, fourth order. And this is very important, because this is where a lot of the money is made. So if you think of your first order, your customer acquisition costs are high, and you might be break even, or you might be slightly above, slightly below. But here, if you can get this person to come back with email, then it's pure profit almost. Because buying Klaviyo, it's expensive, but it's not that expensive. It's not anything nearly as expensive as buying ads. So this is sent for the customers that have become cold now. So remember that they have already bought, and they have had time to distance themselves a little bit. So most likely they have forgot most about what the store was about, and they don't have a very vivid image of that. So there is no engagement lately, And the goal of this is to get retention. So always important to keep the goal in mind, so you don't sway off of that and start thinking like, oh, we want to brand here, or we want to sell right away. Yeah. So it's normal for people to wait in between purchases. That's something to realize. So they might not want to buy from you every single week. So it's normal, and that's why timing is crucial. You want to make sure to send that email at the appropriate time, so you'll be able to be as persuasive as possible, be as relevant as possible. So this is why it's very important, particularly for this cycle or this flow, to understand your buying cycle. So how often do people buy these products? And ideally also, do they need like replacement products after this? Or do they need something like what would be a good match here? And tools like Klaviyo are excellent at this. They will help a lot. But for this flow, typically a length is just 2 to 3 minutes. You don't want to go too long for reasons that I'm going to go into a little bit later. But you don't really want to go too short either. So one email would be a bit like just touching base. So first email, what should be the subject line, for example? I'd go with something like, it's been a while. Yeah. So just like friendly, getting in touch type of thing. And you can use that as subject line. And what you're really looking for here as your number one success metric is open rates. You want high open rates because these are leads that have gone cold. And so if you can have high open rates, that's a good indication that your leads are still warm and that your subject line is good. So if you're not getting this opened, that's going to hurt your deliverability, and that's going to make more of your emails go into spam. So it's a light touch point where the subject line matters particularly much. Usually this is the shortest email of the sequence, the first one. And you just like add a few top selling items as an incentive. You want to have a bait that makes the email seem relevant as well. So if you have, for example, a sale or something like that, then you have a reason to email them. It's just not coming out of the blue. So just a reminder of the offer in the second email, and also a reminder of the incentive. Here on the second email, you want to start adding a little bit of urgency to the offer. So they have already received the offer. Now we need to be able to take it back. Like, okay, here, do you want it? You don't want it? Okay, take it back, you know? So that's like oftentimes the point where people start valuing it, and like, people actually start caring as soon as it's something that they might lose. Then third email, a little bit questionable, but you can have it if you want to sort of say push it a little bit. But I wouldn't go any further than 3 emails, because there is a real dip in responsiveness after those 3 emails, and you're getting a lot less engagement. So best risk-reward ratio seems to be around 2 emails for this flow. And with this, I think like typically a good rule of thumb basically is to be a little bit polarizing. So you want to be either a little bit hated or a little bit loved. But if you get this like meh reaction, like that's gonna kill you. So it's like you basically want customers. I wouldn't say this publicly, but you want people to like buy or die. That's the solution here. So in this email example, it's like either they purchase or they unsubscribe. That's the soft translation. So once you achieve that, you have a cleaner list, and you have engaged those people into become a repeat purchasers, which is a huge jump in their lifetime value and in their profitability as well. Remember, worst reaction here, not caring. So second email, reminder, just ask for it ask for it multiple times, just like a salesperson would. Nothing fancy here. You're not trying to sell on these emails, and the point of the email is just to get a click. And if you get a click, if you get a chance to sell to them again, then you basically win. All right, let's move on to the email series number 3, or email flow number 3, the welcome series. Now, this is the series where you get to show your brand. And this is your shine, a chance to shine basically, and an opportunity for you to make a really good, remarkable, memorable first impression. And this is sent to those people who subscribe from your footer or the pop-up or whatever, like maybe you have even an About Us page, lead capture if you're smart, and then you can get more emails. But think of this as an introductory to a new person. So if you're going to meet Samuel, Samuel has some certain good characteristics that a smart Samuel would display. That's basically what this would go. So you want to make sure that you show strong personality, and again, you're not afraid to polarize, because if they are not your customers, then them liking you a little bit is not going to help you. It's going to be one of those things where you also want to be a little bit edgy, and you want to take risks. Most people are not, or most stores are not taking enough risks with these emails. Try to stand out in the room. Don't just be average. That's the key for the welcome emails. Be friendly. Establish your brand voice and thank them for joining. They should still like you. That's the key. Set expectations also. What can they expect from this email flow? If that's not clear, then they have subscribed into something that they are not going to be excited about. They forgot what your footer read. They forgot that your pop-up read already. So reminding them of why they should stick around right away is going to help in avoiding that first time unsubscribe. And that's your first email of the flow, of the welcome flow. So second and third email, this can be more of a curation email. So you have already said hello, and now you're looking to show the best of what you have. This is your chance of trying to see okay, we have these products. These are typically popular. It's our best chance. Our best chance is basically to show them these products. And like a smart salesperson, when a woman shows up in a shoe store, he's going to show them women's shoes. You're going to do the same thing. So try to match it with the visitor if at all possible, and go with your best products. Now, if you go with a couple of different products, that's usually good as well, because this allows people to select the category that they want. So you are basically maximizing the click, and not only maximizing the click, but you're maximizing the place where the click goes. So the click goes to the place where it's most likely to get a lot of revenue, and ideally a lot of profit for you as well. Now, the goal of this campaign is to remind them of your existence. It's not to persuade them to buy necessarily. So we are presenting products, yes, but we are not selling in the emails. It's to enable the sale, so you're just selling the click, and actual selling happens on page. Remember also, you want to just put your best foot forward here. Best videos, best blog posts, whatever content is available, whatever is the best of the best, then you want to show that. Don't save it. Yeah. All right, so that's the 3 flows. Now let's talk about the length of the flows, because I gave a little bit of advice. And by the way, that last flow, the welcome series, is typically 3 or 4, can be a little bit longer as well if you have the content. But the length of the flow in general is a little bit of a balancing act. There is a science to it, but it's a very contextual as well. It highly depends. Because just like websites, emailing depends on the products, it depends on the audience, it depends on so many things. So best practices are not always so straightforward, and they don't always apply. So you want to find that balance of riding the cost of like basically emailing too little, and you miss out on the opportunity to get the revenue, and you miss out on the opportunity to build that relationship. But then if you email too much, even though emailing is inexpensive, you have the risk of sending to a lot of unengaging subscribers. You might tire out your list, and you also risk hurting your sender reputation if more people are masking or marking it as a spam. So you will start hitting more spam folders, and people will not see the flows at all, even if they would want to. So that's the risk. So it's a bit of a balance here, and you want to make sure that you follow roughly these guidelines. They are guidelines, they're not rules, and then you are in a good position to building out. There are rules, or there are companies that are breaking these rules, and they are still doing very well. So some might send 2 emails, some might send 9. Yeah. So it depends. And some brands are just more engageable. Like so maybe you have a very boring brand and there's not much you can do about it. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like the video, please. Helps out the channel, helps me out as well, and helps me provide great videos for you as well. So help yourself out by helping me out. Subscribe also. A lot of good videos coming up. I'll try my best, my very, very best, to keep these videos as actionable as possible. So like you see like here, very, very practical, and from what I have seen working for my clients and other agencies as well. So thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe and see you on the next video. Thank you.